Hey guys, hey, how are you? It is, oh my God, it is another Thursday. I cannot believe that it is Thursday again already. Of course, it is another Thursday. Good night to you, good evening, wherever you are coming from, whether you're tuning in from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, from Antarctica, Oceanic, North America, South America, wherever you're tuning in from, welcome to another night of HP Chat Track. And of course, we will be talking about track and field as it relates to Jamaica track and field legacy. And I have a guest with me tonight, of course, and he is from Jamaica track and field masters. He is from the masters level, and of course, we're going to talk about Jamaica Masters athletics tonight, and we're going to learn about it because, to be honest with you guys, I did not know much about it until I met this young man, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the federation, how it works, and his involvement. Of course, he is an athlete and stuff. So I just want to say welcome to each and everyone. It is another Thursday night. Monica Lewis, I see you already. I see some people tuning in already. Welcome, 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 and good night. Whether you're watching on Facebook or you are watching on YouTube, welcome and good night. And please to come on over to YouTube so I can see your comments. I love to see your interaction. So please to come on over and interact with us. Josiah, good night, Josiah. Josiah birthday is coming up on June 2nd. Of course, I think June 2nd will be about Monday. So I just want to wish Josiah a happy ninth birthday when it comes. He is my youngest fan. So Josiah, good night and welcome to the show, sir. Good night, good night. But guys, do not go anywhere. We will be right back to talk about Jamaica track and field, the legacy. And as I said before, we will be talking about the Masters legacy, the Masters League, the Masters, however you want to put it, but it is all about the Masters tonight. And already I see Vonnie M coming in. So good night, each and everyone. Good night to everyone who I just see. Nicholas Powell is also there. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. But don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Don't move. Don't move.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica. One people, one legacy.
Jamaica, one people, one legacy. Damien, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And guys, I have to tell you this. Damien is tuning in from Taiwan. Yes, he is tuning in with us from Taiwan or Singapore. I think it's one of those two countries because he's so busy moving in between those two countries. But Damien Maxwell, welcome. How are you?
Hi, HP. Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be on your show and also to share my experience and talk about masters athletics, in particular, what we have in Jamaica and around the world as well. It's a global thing. I am doing well. It's early in the morning. You got me up early for me. It's early for me, so
What time is
but
it where you are?
it's actually, let me see, what time is it now? Several minutes after 8 in the morning,
AM.
and I'm in Singapore, no longer in Taiwan.
Oh, you're in Singapore. Oh, wow. And it's
Singapore.
So it's now 8 a.m. Friday morning.
Friday morning, yes. It's Friday
Wow.
morning for me.
Wow. And it is still Thursday night for me over here in Florida. It's actually
Yes.
11 minutes after 8 here in Florida. But I'm happy that I was able to get you up early at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning because normally my guests they tune in at night, but of course you're in another part of the world. But Damien, before we get into the Masters League and all of that, I just want to get to know you a little bit, and I'm sure that the fans are want to know about you. Who is this Damian Maxwell that is competing at the Masters level with such a baby face? You have a baby face.
And you
But
know, I get that a lot. People will tell me, "Oh, you don't look like a masters athlete," but technically, I am not because masters actually start at 35. So, but what most competitions will have, they will have an M30 group, which goes from 30 to 34. And a lot of competitions will have that category. So technically, I am a pre-masters athlete,
oh,
preparing to be a masters athlete. But we're still a part of the federation because a lot of competitions will include us,
I
right? So
like that. So what it is
yes,
actually doing is that it is kind of transitioning you from one level to the next.
right. And even in the US, because I compete mostly in the United States, because that's where I live. And they actually start their masters competition at age 25. You know, they have a category for 25 through to 29 because you have a lot of athletes who would have left college and they did not make it on the professional level to represent the US at the Olympics or the World Championships. And so they want to involve them as well. And so they have a category for age 25 to 29 as well in the US and some other countries.
Awesome, awesome. I like that. But before we get into the league itself and what it means, Nicholas Powell is saying he's just stopping by to say hello. Hi, Nicholas. Hi. Hi, Bonnie M. 1972, 1976. Olympian is here. Monica Lewis, the ever early Monica Lewis is here. Welcome, welcome, each and everyone. But Damien, just tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, where in Jamaica you're from, where you were born, your community, going to basic school. Just tell us a little
Yes,
bit about that.
I love that because I like to talk about my roots, you know, my origin. So, my name is Damian Maxwell, as most of you would have known already from the introduction. And I am from rural St. James. It's a community called Germantown, located in, you know, the Maroontown area. So, when you leave Montego Bay and you're heading in the cockpit countryside towards like St. Elizabeth area, you would have passed through that area, right? We call it Germantown. Now, I went to Vaughansfield Primary and Infant School, and that's where the whole running started because we would run barefoot on sports day. And from I was a little boy, I know that I was pretty good at running. You know, so I would run at sports day, whether I'm in the red house, yellow house, blue house, you know, it changes, you know, year by year. And I loved running. Running was my passion. And when I was in grade six at Vaughansfield Primary, I won the St. James boys and girls. At the time, it was for primary and junior high, and it was sponsored by Blue Cross at the time. So I was St. James champion, and then I went on to the national championship where I made the 100 meters final. You know, so that was a good thing. So after Vaughansfield Primary and Infant School, I went to Malden High School. And many times when I say Malden High School, people ask me, where is that from? If you're not from St. James, some people may not know about it, but yes, it is a high school up there, and I enjoyed my time at Malden. I was actually the head boy there, graduated being student of the year. And even though Malden is a non-traditional high school, I left Malden with 9 CXC subjects, including 8 distinctions and 1 credit. And so it just goes to tell people that you can bloom wherever you're planted. It doesn't have to be, you know, what society dictates is the correct thing, but you can bloom wherever you are planted. And a lot of times when people do well, not GSAT anymore, I'm old. You know, I
Look
used to
here,
stay young
Damien.
when people say common entrance, but
Damien,
no.
stop it because I did common entrance.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you know, the equivalent of GSAT is what now, PEP.
I think
Right. So
it's PEP,
sometimes
yeah.
people do PEP, right? And they're not
Mhm.
placed at their school of choice. And for persons internationally who may not understand, so in Jamaica, after sixth grade, you do your exam, and that determines which high school you go to. Some are traditional that people want to attend, and sometimes when they don't get into these schools, it causes some frustration. The parents are frustrated and all of that. But your child can bloom wherever he or she is planted, and I'm a living testimony of that. No, while I was at Malden, I ran track there for the first 2 years. Malden wasn't big on sports at the time, so we did a few like Western development meets towards preparing for Western champs. I never even made it to Western champs because at the time we did not participate. We only did a few of the development meets. And by the time I got to grade nine, that's when I decided to put my track career on pause because I became a Seventh day Adventist, and most of
Oh,
those track meets were on Saturdays.
yes.
And I know people were telling me, oh, I know elders, children who do it and all of that, but I was convicted in my heart not to do it. I wanted to please God. And I decided not to run track anymore. I would run at sports day and so forth still, but I wouldn't do it like towards a career goal, that kind of thing. And so I just hung up my spikes and said, you know what, it's hard, but I was convicted in my heart to follow God the way that, He revealed to me, and that was that. No,
And
after
we're going to come back to that, with you coming back into the sport. But before we get there, did you compete at Boys and Girls Champs?
I did not. I did not make it that far because we did a few development meets, as I said earlier, but
Mhm.
we did not even compete at the Western Champs itself during the 2 years that I ran track at Malden. So I never had a chance to compete at the boys and girls champs at the high school level. Not a chance.
Not a chance. Wow.
Even though I was a national finalist at the primary school level.
Wow. And that's the place where, as you know, most of 99% of our athletes would have started their real track and field career. But Malden, tell us a little bit about Malden. Is it a secondary school that was converted to a high school like many of the secondary school, or it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it started as a secondary school and until
Mm-hmm.
it transitioned, and it was more than comprehensive at one point
Okay.
until it eventually became more than high school. So
And
it's
it's
what we
in,
call, what we call an upgraded high school.
yes. Hmm.
One of
I
those
went to one of
schools.
those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's in St. James, not
St.
necessarily
James.
in Montego Bay, but
Right, rural St. James in the cockpit countryside.
wow, is there such
So,
a thing as rural St. James?
of course, yeah, there is. There are several rural St. James communities. The funny
Wow.
thing, when I was in Singapore, I went to church last Sabbath and I actually met a Jamaican who is also from rural St. James. Not the exact same community, but I was just so shocked to find another Jamaican who is actually from somewhere close to where I grew up.
In
I'm like,
Singapore.
wow, in Singapore. No,
Wow.
sorry, that was Taiwan.
Tai-
Taiwan, my
in
bad. I'm mixing them up.
Taiwan.
That was Taiwan last week, yes.
Man, we are everywhere. We are I would love to find a country where you don't have a Jamaican. I swear.
I don't think that exists. But you know what? The town I live in Arkansas, US, I've never met another Jamaican there. It's a small rural town. I guess Jamaicans are not up
You
for
like
that.
rural communities, it seems.
Um,
Or they choose you,
yeah,
which one?
I think they choose me. But the thing is, for the most part, I don't like to live in big cities. I like to visit big cities, but I rather to live somewhere more calm, more relaxed, and then I go into the city for vacation or whatever it is and to do stuff. I like when my home is quiet and I can hear the birds and get in touch with nature. I like that kind of setting.
Real countryman.
Yes,
Love the
real
countryside.
love the countryside. May I tell you, like country living is nice. It's wholesome. I'm telling you,
I
love it.
totally agree with
Hmm.
you. And just to hail up some people, the Jamaica International Masters is here with us tonight, and they're saying blessings all around. Welcome, welcome, Jamaica International Masters. I love that. Dr. Kevin Bowen is also here. He's saying, Dr. B checking in. Reimar's track club from St. Mary is also in the building, and he's saying good night, good night. And guys, if you're just joining us tonight, I am here with Damian Maxwell, who said that he is a Masters athlete. Now you look at this face, you're saying he's getting ready for trials at the end of June, for an event. But of course, he is a part of the Masters League, and he's here to share his story and also to tell us a little bit about this movement. Because to be honest with you, before I met Damien, which is not so long ago, I wasn't even aware that we had a Masters league that was active. I did not even know that. But going back to you a little bit, University of the West Indies from Malden. Before we get there, from Malden to Cornwall College, tell me a little bit about your sixth form years at Cornwall College.
All right. So when I left Malden, I actually took a year off. You know, financially, we didn't have it like all together. And so I took a year off to work. I worked for a couple of months at the Gleaner Company, Western Bureau. And then I taught at a prep school, a private prep school for another 6 months thereabout. So I could save up some money to do my sixth form. And then after that, I went to Cornwall where I did the sciences, so math, biochemistry, physics, the works of that, and the regular com studies and Caribbean studies. I had 2 good years at Cornwall. I was a prefect, and the only reason I did not apply for the head boy or one of the deputy position was that they had a rule where if you're not coming from, I think, seventh grade at the time, you could not apply. The most you could be is a prefect. But I did pretty well, and I was right up there amongst the top students. I remember even after Unit 2, I got what, 4 distinctions, 1 credit. So it was right up there with what the top students at Cornwall were achieving at the time, even though I was coming from Malden. And my group also had other students. So in that group, we had the head boy, the former head boy of Mushet as well, Holland High School, and I think William Nib. So there were several students with backgrounds similar to mine.
Wow.
And we did pretty well, just to show persons again that it doesn't matter your background, you can still bloom wherever you are. And once you get to a stage where you're thrown in the mix with what we call high performers, you will do well just the same. So that was pretty much my experience at Cornwall. Oh, I also did a little bit of track at Cornwall, not for like towards champs or anything, but I ran at Cornwall College Sports Day, and I competed against persons who were training on the track team, and I won the high jump and got second in the long jump. And what else again? I won a bronze in a track event. I don't remember which one it was. And my 4x1 team won the gold. And we were competing against persons who were training towards the track team.
So
And
you
I
could
was out
you,
of track.
you could have easily made the champs team for Cornwall,
Easily, easily.
but because
This
of
was something
your
I didn't even run for. So I still had the raw speed somewhat, but I didn't have the endurance. So like the 200 would have been affected, that kind of thing. But I still had some speed.
awesome, awesome. Your story um is a very good story because what you're telling us is that, and I know this very well, it is not how you start the race, but how you finish.
I agree.
is
I
how you
agree.
is how you finish. You can shine anywhere you are.
That's
But from
correct.
Cornwall College to Kingston
UWI, proud
University of,
Pelican.
I tell you, I mean, you're coming from, as you call it, rural St. James to the city of Kingston. How was that transition for you as a little Christian boy?
It was not hard. Even though I still find myself to do this, like I fit in anywhere I'm at. I make the best use of it. And when I left Cornwall, I remember I had the conversation with my mother, and I said, you know what, I'm going to UE. And she did not have the money at the time, and my mother was fixing to migrate to the US at the time. And when she migrated, she did not get a job right away. You know how the system is at
Yes.
times. It takes a while for you to, get roped in and all of that. But I said to myself, I am going to start UE. I did not see the money. And I remember I went and I applied for my student loan. And I just had the faith that, listen, God is going to provide. All I need to do is to start. And that was just my thing. But the funny thing though, like all my life, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor all my life, but I knew I was also good at math and I was also good at teaching because, like all my cousins, my little brother, even before they started school, I would sit them down on my veranda with my little blackboard and I started to teach them. So my brother could read, write, and everything before he went to basic school. That's just the person
Wow.
I was. So when I left sixth form and I applied for UE, surprisingly, I applied for math, but I did a double major in math and education because I said it doesn't make sense I only do math. I want to do a double major, either math and computer science or math and education. So I decided to do math and education while
So
I was at
you
UE.
so you did a degree in math.
I did, yeah, my
I did
first
not know that
degree.
people do those things. A
Oh
degree in
yeah,
math.
my master's is also in math that I did in the US. I have a master's in math, and coming this August, I'll be starting my PhD in math as well.
And we're going to talk about that. I
We'll
mean,
talk about that, yes.
A PhD in math. Guys, a
Hmm.
bachelor's degree in math, a master's degree in math, and this young man is going after a PhD in math. No, this is just brilliant. This is brilliant. And as you said, you're from very, very humble beginning because
Extremely humble.
you had to take some time off to go and work some money to go to sixth form to be
Yes.
able to register for sixth form, and that is just amazing. A lot of people would not have gone back, but you went back and you did what you had to do, and even when you did not have the money for UE, you said that you are going. That's just wow.
Right.
What?
And one more thing to add too. So when I started UE, I had a cousin in the US. We grew up with her, but then she left when she was 12. And I remember when my mom migrated, she paid my rent for the first 6 months. And I didn't even ask her. She paid just the kindness and how supportive my family members are. I must thank all my family members, and even my aunts too. People come together. I live with my one of my aunts for a period of time, and as a family, we're just, we're closely knitted and we support each other, and I'm just grateful for them too.
Talk about generation wealth,
Yes,
setting up each other and helping each other.
yes.
Tamika is saying good night, Tamika. But while at UE, now you're doing math. I cannot see through a degree in math. I'm lousy at math, so maybe that's is why I feel that way. I was forced to do it because I wanted to graduate from UTech. But you while studying at the University of the West Indies, you came back into the track and field world. What pulled you back in?
All right, so here's the thing. And let me give you a little backstory as to how that came about. So when I was at UE during my second semester of first year, I got sick. Some weird things were happening to me, and I just could not figure out. I was going to the doctors, specialists, doing tests. Things were coming back normal, but I felt like I was dying. I don't know what was happening. And one thing with the Adventist church, they're big on health and,
Yes.
diet reform and all of that, exercise and just doing the natural things to try to keep yourself healthy. So when I could not get any result, I'm saying to myself, it could be that I need to do some lifestyle modifications. And after I finished my first year at UE, I planned to stop. I was going to stop. But this is how God worked it out. I had a friend from church who was starting UTech at the time. And he said to me, follow me to Kingston. Let's go to SLB and let's help me to find a place to rent, that kind of thing. So I went with him to Kingston. And when I went there and he got the apartment and so forth, he was like, if we share, it would be much cheaper. But I'm like, no, I'm thinking of taking a year off because my health wasn't good. And I just wanted to take some time off to, fix things and all of that. But anyway, he encouraged me and I did start. And I'm so grateful that I did
Yeah.
because during my second year, toward the end, this was in 2014, I noticed that UE was preparing for the UE Games and it was going to be held in Trinidad and Tobago. And I said, you know what? I think if I exercise with the track team, it will help me to be more consistent and it would help me to, I'll be forced to get involved because some days I don't feel like exercising. I don't feel like going for a walk. I don't feel like going for a run.
Tell me
But I
about it.
think, but if I'm doing it towards something, I
Yeah.
know, it will be better. And Gary was coaching the staff team at the time. That's Gary Samuels from UWE. He's also involved with Jamaica Masters. I think he coaches at Jamaica Elite Masters now. That's Gary Samuels. And
Okay.
I asked him, I went to the Mona Bowl and he was having a session with some guys and some females were a part of it too. And I said, can I join? And he was like, yeah, you can join. And I mean, if you have any use or if you can make the team, then yeah, you can join. So anyway, I started training with them and I trained for about 2 months. And I'm like, wow, the speed is coming back. It's there. And I eventually made the team. I made the team to Trinidad. I did not run any individual event, but I ran on one of the relays and we won that gold for Mona. And so that's how I got back while I was at UWE, just for 2 months, just for those
Mm-hmm.
2 months towards the UWE games. And UWE was a challenge because, as I said, I was having the health issues, but I pushed right through. And I mean, God helped me as well because sometimes I look back and I'm like, how did I even go through all of that? But I just said, you know what, it must be God who just, bring me through it. And I'm just so happy for that. But UWE was a good experience. And while at UWE, I was involved in many other things too. The Math Olympiad, I graded for them. I went to different schools around Jamaica to promote the Math Olympiad and all of that. So I was pretty much involved at
Math
UWE as well.
Olympiad. What is that, Damien?
So that's the competition that UWE has every year, and it goes from I think what's the age group again? I can't remember the age group, but different students across the entire island will compete at the preliminary levels, and then the finalists come to UWE for a competition.
Okay.
Right. So that's the Math Olympiad. I'm not sure if they still do it, but it was a big thing back then.
Wow, what a story. So being able to exercise and change your certain lifestyle, your health you were able to restore
Yes,
your
it,
health.
it improved a lot. It wasn't perfect, but I saw a lot of results. Yeah, I could go about my daily activities much better. And I think too, what was affecting me was just not knowing what was happening, and then the anxiety and the stress, and then you start to overthink, and
Yeah.
then Google becomes your doctor, and that kind of like make you stress out.
I
I
tell
just put it all
people,
off, and I said, you know what? Listen, I'm okay. I'm gonna be fine, and that really helped too.
I tell people, Damien, that exercise is a good thing.
It
It
is
is a good thing. It helps your mind, it helps your body, it helps your so exercise is my medicine. I exercise at least 4 times for the week. And believe
very
me,
good.
on a day when you feel like you don't want to do anything, you don't want to come out of bed, pull yourself out of that bed and do a 30 minutes workout and see
Yes.
how good you feel. It is just amazing. But guys, if you're just joining us, I'm here tonight with Damian Maxwell, my new friend. Yes, he's my new friend. We are here tonight and we're talking about he's sharing his story. And of course, we're going to look a little bit on the Jamaica Masters athletics. And of course, next week, Thursday night, I will have Dr. Kevin Bowen, who will tell us a lot more about the organization. But Damien, you are a member of the Jamaica Track and Field Masters Athletics. On your return to the sport, before you even get to that, did you ever try out for the professional league?
I did not. So here's
Okay.
the thing. Let me give you a little bit of information on that. So I did not know that masters was a thing until 2024. You
And
see, and that's why we need to
Damien,
educate others.
that's just
That's
last
just
year.
last season, yeah, last track season. I had no idea that this was a thing. So what happened is, so I am a lecturer at the University of Arkansas, Rich Mountain campus, and we do have a track team there. And I remember I spoke to the head coach, Coach Shores, and I was volunteering to help, with the sprinters because we had a cross country long distance thing going on, and they did very well, won several regional titles and all of that. And so with the sprint program, I was so happy that I could help until the college eventually hired me on as an assistant coach where I work with the sprinters. And so when I worked with them, I would normally race them. So we run, and it's always a privilege for them to race me, and yeah, they feel good when they beat me and all of that. But I realized that I still had some speed, and I was competitive with the students, right? To the point where I was labeled the fastest man on campus. So when I was training with them, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine from Jamaica, Maria Wallace. Maria Wallace, she's we go to the same church back in Jamaica, and she was saying, you can run masters. And even when she said it, it didn't even click with me that this was actually a thing. I'm like, what masters? Maybe I need to look this up. But I did some research, and I spoke to other persons. I worked with another Jamaican. He's based in Canada, Mellard Brown. He works with the Jamaican Track Club. Nigel, another Jamaican, owns that track club. And I remember last summer I went there and I trained with that club for 2 months. 2 months, and I ran at the Canadian Championship. And we'll get to that later on,
Yeah.
the whole Masters League and all of that. But that's kind of how I got back into it. I was just running for fun. And then I didn't even start to compete at Masters level. I would sign up and race with the college students as an unattached athlete. So I remember I went to New York and New Jersey and several other states across the US, and I would compete against these students. And most times when I competed, if we have like sometimes 50 athletes in like the 100, I would finish at around 11 or 12. I was always in the first half of the pack, and I'm like, wow, this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys are young and fast, and you're able to at least be in the mix. And that's when I said, you know what, I need to look into more Masters League and compete at the Masters level.
You, as you said before, you were teaching math. I'm going to
Yes.
assume that it's okay. So you were teaching math at the University of Arkansas. But my thing is, how were you able to navigate and balance a full-time job of teaching? You have a lot of papers to mark. This is math.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is not just any and any subject. This is math. How were you able to navigate teaching and training for the Masters League?
Yeah, and it's not only teaching and training. I had a lot more going on because, as you may know, I'm also a content creator. I make content on social media. I am also a church elder as well in the local Adventist church in my community. So I preach sometimes and give presentations and stuff like that. And so to balance all that, it was not hard. And this is why when you're passionate about something, you find the time for it. And so,
Amen.
yes, you,
Amen.
you, you find the time, or
I
you
can
make the
attest to
time and you
that.
fit
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what my typical day would look like, let's say on a Monday through, let's say Thursday, Friday, sometimes, I give and take. I get up early, I go to work, and I will end my work at around 3:30. It depends. And at the college level, we do have some flexibility. So you go in when you have classes and office hours. It's not like the high school system where you have to be there a certain amount of time, like a set time. It all depends on your schedule and your office
Mhm.
hours and that kind of thing. So after work, I would head to the track, and while I'm coaching, I also do my workout with the students. And I think that's something that motivates them as well because, hey, here you have a coach doing the workout as well. So you don't have an excuse not to do it. So I train and coach with them. And so for me, I think of my training as like a date with myself because it's something I'm not going to miss. I'm going to show up and that's my exercise. Some people go to the gym just for fun. Some people they do different things for leisure activities. But for me personally, my go-to, my mental break and all of that comes through my training and my workout. So for me, it did not appear as a task or a job, but like a hobby.
Like a hobby.
Yeah,
Woo.
so it was very easy to balance because I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
I know exactly what you speak of when you speak of passion. And I will tell people if you're going to pursue something, make sure that you're passionate about it. Because if you are
Yes.
not passionate about it, when those days come when you're not in the mood, let me tell you, you are not going to be in the mood. But with passion, all when you're tired, you're even doing it in your sleep. But before we go any
Right.
further, let me just
Hmm.
say welcome to Olympian Dorothy Scott Genius, 1980, 1984. Olympian Dorothy Scott Genius is there. Three times Olympian Lilith Hodges is also with us. 1972, 1976, 1980. Marlene Green is also here. And Nicholas Powell is asking if Kevin B is from GC Foster. So, okay, he's answering that question there. And just to go back to you, and guys, if you're just joining tonight, it's all about the Jamaica Masters Athletics. We are bringing some attention to this branch of our track and field, the Masters branch of it. And of course, Damian Maxwell is an athlete, an active athlete who just recently won bronze for Jamaica in the triple jump. And of course, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But going back to you, Damian, Masters athletics is not popular in Jamaica because when you told me about it, I sent a message to four groups that I'm in, four track and field groups. And it was just a few people that knew about the Masters League. They did not even know that it was still active, but they knew that it was there. And it was a group with mostly Olympians, people like Miss Vilma Charlton, Dorothy Scott, Lilith Hodges. They are people within that group, and they were able to educate me a little bit about the Masters League. Tell us a little bit about Jamaica Masters Athletics, what it is about, how are you eligible to compete. You don't have to go too deep because Dr. Kevin Bowen will be here next week to go all the way into it. But just tell us a little bit about what you know about the organization and how one is eligible to be a part of it.
Yes, I'll tell you a little bit about what I know. And as you mentioned, Kevin will go into the details. He's
Yes.
way more knowledgeable than I am. So
Hmm.
I'll leave most of it to him.
Yes.
But from what I know is that with Jamaica Masters, as masters around the world, as I said, it starts at age 35. So once you're age 35, you are able to compete. But you do have some championships. So like the World Masters Games I was just at in Taiwan, they start at 30. And that's like the Olympic Games for Masters athletes. We had 25,000 athletes across 35 disciplines. So that's a big thing, very big thing. And they start at age 30. So once you're 30 or older, you will have um, opportunities to participate in masters athletics. And I know we're talking about athletics, but masters is bigger than just athletics. So the swimming have masters too. Um, Almost any sport you can think of around the world, they do have masters
So it's
championships. So
kind of
you
like
don't have to
the
be a runner.
so it's kind
Hmm.
of like the Olympic Games where you have
Yes.
all these sports come together.
Right,
Okay.
right. So that's for the World Masters Games, and that's held every 4 years. So it mimics the Olympics. Now, in addition to that, you do have what we call World Masters Athletics, and that one now is similar to what you would have on the professional side as the World Championships, right? And so recently they had the World Masters Athletics Indoor that was held in Florida, and we had several Jamaicans. Kevin was the team manager there, and several Jamaicans competed at that one. And I think next year, I think it's either Japan or South Korea, they will have the outdoor championships for Masters Athletics. So it's a big thing. So for persons who are listening to me, and for that one, you have to be 35 and older. For persons who are listening to me, you can start training and start save a little thing here and there and prepare and go and represent your country at these championships. I know with Jamaica Masters currently, and this is my experience. I don't know about all the other Masters athletes. I'm talking about my experience. So I did not get funding
Hold that
from the
thought.
organization to
Hold
come to
that
these
thought. I'm
games.
going to ask you about
Yes.
funding and all of that. But before we go any further, let us just look at some more comments
Yes,
coming
sure.
in. We have welcome Vivian Morano, 1988 Olympian for Jamaica. I saw something that I want to read. They're having a conversation there. Maria Wallace, welcome, welcome. Hosani Webster, I hope I got that right, is saying 35 and up, which you did say. Coach Nigel is saying greetings from Toronto, Canada, of Jamaica Athletics and Jamaica Masters Toronto chapter. Thank you very much. Welcome, Coach Nigel, for that. And Nicholas is saying all Olympic sports are a part of the Masters sport. Okay, so Hosani Webster is saying South Korea is where you guys will have your championship next year. And Nicholas is asking, how is the support from the Federation? And that's a good question because I have that on my script. But before we go any further, I love to do research. So let me just read some information that I just to inform the audience a little bit more. Okay, World Masters Athletics, WMA, is a worldwide governing body for the sport of masters athletics, which includes track and field, cross country, and road running events. The age to participate is 35 years and older. A little history here. The organization started under the name of World Associations of Veteran Athletes, founded August 9th, 1977, at the Second World Association of Veterans Athletes Championship in Sweden. In 2001, the name was officially changed to World Masters Athletics, and its championship is now called World Masters Athletics Championship that you just. So that was just some added information for our um, our audience. And as we said before, Dr. Kevin, I'm going to pick his brain next week about all the little ins and outs and stuff. But back to you, Damien. Masters Athletics is not promoted or highlighted as part of our legacy. It is not. I'm not even going to mince words. It is not. Uh,
Yeah, that
do
is
we
true.
have an active federation? And if you
And
don't
that's
have,
something Kevin will speak more next
right, yeah,
week. But there is a federation, but I'm not sure when I mention active how active it
yeah.
is, because what I would love to see, because I live and I am trained in the US and I compete mostly across the US and Canada. And what I do see with US Masters or Canadian Masters, or even here at the World Masters Games, how I see other federation come together to support their athletes and bring like a strong team here. It's a big thing for them. We don't have that in Jamaica currently. I can say that for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, I would love to see where masters are supported better and also where they're at least partially funded towards these competitions. Because I mean, when I came here to these games and I put on my Jamaican vest, I'm telling you, everybody started to go wild. People were so excited to see that, hey, we have a Jamaican competing. And this is just strong representation for the country, whether you win, lose, or any of that sort. People are just excited to see Jamaica. And I think the legacy that Jamaica has in track and field should not just stop at the professional level. I think we should take the, I think we should just take hold of the masters as well, because currently in athletics, US dominate that. They definitely dominate it, and masters in the US is a big thing. USA track and field also support USA track and field masters strongly. They organize their national competition, and international athletes are also invited to participate. You pay a little registration fee, and the funds they make, they also support their athletes going to these world games. If they have a chance of medaling, they do support and fund them. And I would love to see that in Jamaica Masters as well. I would love to see that happening, because people reach out to me all the time. I help to manage the Jamaica Masters Instagram page, and I have people from all over the world on a daily basis. They would message and say, "Hey, when is Jamaica keeping um a championship so that we can enter? We want to run in Usain Bolt country. So, I think things like these could be very good for Jamaica to host a meet where we can use that to raise funds to help support our athletes. Also, I have persons who reached out to the Instagram page and they're saying to us, we would love to do Masters, but honestly, we can't afford it. Like, what support do you guys give? And I'm like, currently, I don't know of any. So I couldn't really speak about that, but I don't know of any because I haven't gotten any. So I don't know if any other athletes are getting any support, and I doubt it because I haven't heard of any who mentioned
At the
such.
championship in before we get there, World Masters Athletics is a big deal based on what I'm reading because it is basically
Yes,
sanctioned worldwide events. The rules are similar
yes,
to World Athletics. So,
yes,
based on when I was reading, and I was like, but this thing is a real thing. It's not just something that
yeah.
you call up your friends and do. It is well structured
Oh
and
no, big thing.
well put together. But you are currently, even though I think it's finished now, at the World Masters Games. How long was the championship?
All right, so the championship ran from, well, it's still going on. It goes until so it started on May 17th and it will end on May 31st, I think. But track and field only went for the first 5 days. So from May 18th until I think May 23rd, I think was the last day for track, or May
Hmm
24th,
hmm
thereabout. But other games are still going on. I think they had like water polo still and a few other disciplines that are still taking place. And then on the 31st, I believe they will have the closing
How many
ceremony.
members did we have on the Jamaican team?
Well, I was the only one from what I've seen. I did not meet any other Jamaican at the game.
You were the only one there. Mm.
Yes, to the best of my knowledge. But here's the thing though, so they kind of split us based on age. So everybody under 50, we were at one particular location at a different stadium from persons who were 50 and older. So I don't know if we had any Jamaican in the 50 and older age group because they would be at a different location from where
But in
I
your
was.
category, you
But
were the only person.
I was the only person. And I think if there were other Jamaicans, I would have known. I don't recall seeing any other Jamaican on the registration list, and I was trying to peruse and look through as much as I could, and I did not see
So
any other.
you had
The
no
only other,
company. You were all by yourself?
no, I went there all by myself, but thankfully the people of Taiwan, they were really nice, and also I met several Americans who were there competing as well. I knew of persons who I competed with in the US at different Masters League, who I connected with while I was there.
Mm. Mm.
Hmm.
Ah, and you said it.
And then another thing too, and I don't know if this is on your script, and you can stop me if you need to say it at a later time, but I met a lot of Jamaicans when I compete in the US. A lot of Jamaicans. Me, it wasn't our desire to run for the US. 'Cause most of them are running for the US, including some former Olympians.
So hold on there.
Uh,
Hold
hmm.
on. You are saying that our athletes, former Olympian, former athletes, are
Yes,
now competing for the United States.
a lot of them. Yes, and I must tell you, I've even given thoughts to it, honestly,
And that's
because
fine.
when I look at the structure of USA track and field, at the masters level, and the support that they give, honestly, it's really inviting. I'm being honest. It's inviting, and but for me, it's just that national pride where I just could not. But honestly, it's something that I thought about in the initial stage. I thought about it because the fact that I was living there, well, I'm living in the US for more than 3 years, I could qualify to run. But the fact that I now represented Jamaica, it would take a longer process. So I'm not even gonna think about that anymore. So people, you don't need to worry. I'm here for Jamaica. But
Oh
initially
my
I
gosh.
thought about it because honestly the support is great. And when you're going to represent the United States at these world games, especially World Masters Athletics, I know for a fact that they help with your expenses if you have a chance of medaling. So once you're running good times or you're jumping a good distance, they will help to fund your trip.
So the fact that you won a bronze medal in the triple jump, you would have gotten funding if you were a part of the US team.
More than likely, I would have, because when they look at the entry, they would see that yeah, this guy has a chance of medaling. So yeah, you would have good bargaining power to get some finances towards your expenses. Yes.
All right, so let me ask you now, before I even ask you
Hmm.
this other question. I mean, Taiwan, Singapore from America is a whole heap of flying time, and we're looking
Oh
about
Lord.
we're looking at from North America to Asia.
Yes.
We're going to look at that a little bit. Let us read some comments. We have a lot of comments here, and we don't want to leave the audience out of it. Let's see. All right, Dorothy Scott, Olympian Dorothy Scott is asking, yes, guys, please to like, share this content because we want the Jamaicans, the diaspora, wherever you are, to know about the Masters League, and we want to get this part of our legacy up and running, and we need to support him to support our athletes. You heard what Damien just said. A lot of our retired athletes, Olympians and all, representing the United States. He was the only one in his age group representing Jamaica. He was all by himself in Taiwan, represented us, and of course, he won a bronze medal. So, congrats on that, Damien. But let me just read some comments. Um, Dr. Kevin Bowen is saying a lot of Jamaican born athletes are running for the United States because they support their athletes better. No, there's no
Yes.
lie. There is no lie in that. There is no lie in that. Olympian Lily Hodges is saying, I do agree that Jamaica needs to pay more attention to the master's program. It will also help to keep people in good physical condition. True, true. True, but the part that hit me, Tony Phillips is saying, greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, Tony. But Damien, the part that hit me before we get back is that, okay, JW is saying, bless up HP with some love. Thank you very much for that. Uh, Osani Webster is saying, lot of Jamaicans running for the US. See, everybody keeps saying the same thing. And he or she also said, I was thinking about it as well before I went to the world indoors. So here is another person who was thinking about competing for the United States just recently. Normally, I'm not a person who is lost for words, but I'm lost for words right now because. So, Damien, you were all by yourself in Taiwan?
I was, yeah, I was all by myself, and the thing
So
is
so did
true.
you
Mhm.
have a flag? Did you have gear? Did you have food? How were you able to survive?
All right, let's talk about that a little. So I made some sacrifices to come to these games. So when I started my 2025 track season, I remember I said to myself, I am not going to do any meet across the US or Canada. I'm just going to save whatever I could towards the World Masters Games because I really wanted to compete there. And my goal was to win the 100-meter title. And I think I had it within me to do it. And so I was going after that. And so, but God provides, He provides. And I was able to do four indoor meets. I remember I went to New York. I even did one in Toronto. Where else did I go to again? I did several. I went to Houston,
Yes,
Texas,
you
and,
did
and
the
Arizona,
USA West
right?
Southwest Championship in Houston
Yeah,
also.
right. And all those championships, I won at least two medals, including gold. I won high jump. I won two high jump titles. I won a long
Before you
jump
go,
title. I
before
won
you
the
go,
60. Yeah.
before you go any further with that, let us just look at some of your achievements while we're discussing that, and then you can continue. You have
Right.
a bachelor's degree in math. You have a master's degree in math.
Yes.
In 2025, this season, you just competed at the World Masters game in Taiwan, where you won a bronze medal in the triple jump. and you finished fourth in the 100 meters and the 110-meter hurdles. You also went to the indoor games in the United States, USA Western Masters Championships and Arizona State Championship, where you won 3 gold medals: 60 meters, 60-meter hurdles, high jump. Uh, Ontario, okay, he got disconnected, guys. Hopefully, he will reconnect with us. But just going through his achievements, he also won 2 silver medals at the Ontario Masters Indoors, the high jump and the 60 meters. He also won medals at the USA Southwest Championship in Houston. He won the 60 meters gold, high jump gold, triple jump gold, and a long jump silver medal. Now, this is this is a part of our legacy. He also won the 200 meters last year in the Ontario Championship in Canada. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say or how to say it or the right way to say it, but we continue to not we continue to do the same thing, and that is no support, not supporting, not supporting our legacy, not supporting our athletes the way that we should. And it is heartbreaking. It is really, really heartbreaking. Damian was just saying he was in Taiwan all by himself. He was the only one there, the only athlete competing for Jamaica in the category on the 50. Okay, he's back with us, guys. Let me just reconnect him. Hi, Damian.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, it's a little muffled. Hold on, I'm gonna switch connection and see what's going on here. Not sure what's happening.
Yes, I'm getting some feedback from you.
Give me just 1 second.
All right, guys. Okay, guys. While he work on that, all right. While he work on that, we'll just continue to look at. Uh, let me read some comments. Help me, guys. Help me to find words because it really breaks my heart that he's out there representing the country and he was all by himself. I'm waiting to hear if he had food, if he had the things that he needed in order to compete for the country. Because let me tell you guys, Taiwan is not close to us or Jamaica. It is in Asia. It is a part of Asia. And when we talk about Asia, we're talking about countries like Japan and China, South Korea, North Korea, those places. That's how far he was. It is now I think 9 a.m. for him Friday morning. It is still Thursday night for us. So he is in a totally different place. But we have to include everything. We need to include everybody because the masters athletics is a part of our legacy, and we cannot ignore it. And he was just one person. He should have gotten all the resources that he needed because it was just him alone on the team. So, as I said before, I'm waiting for him to come back to tell me if he had food, if he had spending money, if he had the right clothes, if he had gear, and all of those things. But let us just read some comments until Damian rejoins us. Coach Nigel, who is in Toronto, is saying structure is very important in any organization, just as the Jamaica Masters. However, there are a lot of changes and upcoming changes coming for improvement. I'm happy to hear that, Coach Nigel. I'm so happy to hear that because, Damien being all by himself in Taiwan, all right, let's see, he's back. Let's get him back in.
I'm not
All
sure
right,
why
Damien.
there's a muffling sound. Can
All
you
right.
hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, but there's a feedback. Can you your earbuds? Let's see if that will.
Let me see.
Hello, check, check. Can you hear me?
Just 1 second. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Say something again. Check, check.
Yeah. My check. 1 2. Can you hear me?
There's a little muffle. Take out the earbuds totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see now. Check, check. Say something.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Perfect, perfect. I think it was the
Okay.
earbuds. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the earbuds want to
The
charge.
earbuds. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you still hear me good?
Check, check. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, and I'm not getting the
Okay.
feedback anymore. Good. Sorry
Awesome,
about that.
awesome.
I'm not
Right.
sure what happened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's get back to the conversation. Right. So you were all by yourself in Taiwan. My question before you got disconnected, did you have food? Did you have spending money? Did you have the proper gear? Did you have the things that you needed to eat properly? And don't be afraid to tell me.
Well, I did the best that I could. So I am someone who is big on nutrition. So I normally eat well, but it was from my own money. I remember two friend each gave me a small contribution. My mother sent me something, my sister sent me something. And no matter how small a contribution may seem, it's greatly appreciated because it helped towards something, and just to know that persons believe in what you're doing and they can give something towards, your dream and your passion, then
Yeah.
I'm truly grateful. But while in Taiwan, thanks to Kevin, I got my gears to run in. So he did the best he could, and he sent me some stuff. And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have anything at all to run in to represent Jamaica. Let's say it like that. Um,
Hold on, stop a minute. Stop.
yes.
So you're saying if Dr. Kevin Bowen did not send you something, you would not
Mhm.
have had any Jamaican colors to compete in?
No, unless I would probably have to go source it elsewhere or buy it or something. But it was all Kevin who helped me to get it because I think he went down to Jamaica. And Kevin, you can correct me on this one if I misquote or anything. And he went to J3 to ask for gears for me, to get, like warm up stuff. I didn't get any of those. And maybe he can speak more on that next week since he was the one who had the conversations with them. But he didn't get that. I think he only got like the actual running, what do you call them again? The
Just the kit to run
Just the
in,
kit. Right,
competition
right.
kit.
And and Kevin sent me a bodysuit that he had for, personally, that he sent that to me as well. So apart from that, I didn't get any other gears. No spikes, nothing. I had my own spikes. I pretty much, yeah, it was, yeah, individual efforts.
This is this is
And the
heartbreaking.
thing is too, and why it is kind of hard is when I look at my colleagues, my friends who compete for the US, even some of my friends who went to World Athletics in Florida, and I see the things that they get for free from US Masters, I'm like, wow. I'm like,
And you could not get a warm-up bodysuit
I did not.
to
Mm-mm.
compete for the country.
I think J3 was busy with preparing for world relays, and what's the other thing that was going on again? I think Carifta.
The character
So I
game.
think, so I guess masters is just on the back burner. I mean, yeah. But you know what I say to Heather as we're on this topic. I'm not knocking the J3A, but I think that so like in the US, like and I know person may see I keep talking about the US, but it can be done in Jamaica too, where if we have a very active masters federation, we can make this possible for ourselves, right? We want, I would want to see where in Jamaica Masters we have such strong leadership where we can bargain and we can get our own sponsors and we don't have to rely on J3 because in truth and in fact there's no money in Masters running. And I mean, most people, if there's no money, they're not going to put their efforts into it. That's just the reality of things. But I think if we have people who are passionate and people who want to see Masters athletics grow in Jamaica to a point where it can match up with any other Masters federation around the world, we have to have strong leadership in Jamaica Masters to make that possible.
So let me
You
ask
know?
you,
Yes.
when you competed and you realized that you won a medal, who gave you a Jamaican flag?
Well, I had one. So, late last year, I went to Connecticut and I helped my brother move as he was going into the Navy, and he had a Jamaican flag, and I took it. And so I had that flag with me, and I took it to Taiwan. So I had my own Jamaican flag. And to be honest, Heather, I did
So
not
did you
even
get a
get to.
call? Did you get a call from Jamaica to congratulate you on winning that medal for?
No, it's only the few people in from Jamaica Masters who are really passionate about the thing, you know, Kevin and a few others. So I kept them informed as to what was happening. We are a part of we're all in a group, and you know they know what's happening and they congratulated me and all of that. But from Jamaica directly, no. I don't even think some are aware. I don't even think some of them are even aware.
This is the part where I wish I had a producer to say cut. So so
I
that
can take on that role, cut.
so that I can get a minute to breathe. And I don't know, we boy, I tell you, but guys, if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. And tonight is all about our Jamaica Masters athletics. You know, we're out there, another branch of track and field, another element of Jamaica that is putting us on the map. But let me ask you, Damien, tell
Yes.
me about the reception while you were competing in Taiwan. How were you received by fans, the local people?
Honestly, when I was in Taiwan, I felt like I was Usain Bolt or Asafa Powell. Honestly, that's the reception that I got. Persons were excited. Persons wanted pictures. I've never ever experienced this before. Persons wanted to take pictures with me. Persons were giving me gifts. So I got shirts from Taiwan. I got like their traditional market bags. Persons were just so kind, so supportive, so receptive. They loved the fact that a Jamaican was there competing, and they love Jamaican athletics. These folks were even telling me about athletes who I did not even remember competed for Jamaica. That's how much they are invested in Jamaica athletics. They were telling me about all the Jamaican athletes who came there to compete in the past. And it's not only Usain Bolt and Asafa, but even others who Jamaica may not even recognize to this day. But around the world, people are so appreciative of the work that our athletes have done, and they showed me the same love, and I felt at home while I was in Taiwan. I'm being honest, and that made it much easier. No, the thing is, with all of that, it came with some pressure, and I think that affected me in my 100. I ran a solid first round, and everybody was just, they had me like on this, they had
A
this high
little
standard
king.
for me, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. You have the second fastest time going into the final. You were not all out in the heat. We know you're gonna get the gold or the silver. And I think that put some pressure on me where I did not execute well in the final. I'm not used to this, I'm not used to that. But nonetheless, the medal came in the triple jump, and I did not even expect it, honestly. After I missed out on a medal in the 100, I'm like, yeah, guys, this is it. Because I knew I'm not a hurdler, I'm not a triple jumper. I am good at high jump, but the high jump and the 100 were at the same time, so I couldn't get to do the high jump. And I was very surprised, but they were so happy for me. They celebrated with me, they were congratulating me, and they were just so happy to know that I got a medal for my country.
Talk about
Honestly, we felt more like friends than competitors, the way the
talk ab-
support was. strong.
Talk about being treated like a king in another man's country.
Yes, that was the feeling. And Heather, I must tell you, I have no regrets competing for Jamaica at the World Masters Games. You know, some persons would say to me, I wouldn't do it if I'm not getting the funds to do it. But I did it for me, not just for my country, but for both. Let me say both. Both. I enjoyed the experience, and with this, it opens a lot of doors for me, and it changed my perspective on a lot of things. I had no idea Asia was this advanced. You know, a lot of us, we are limited. We are so ignorant as to what's happening in the rest of the world because all we're used to is just North America. We think life is just in America and Canada. But when I see some stuff in Taiwan and even here in Singapore, I'm like, wow, America and Canada have a far way to go. I was so impressed. And I'm happy for these experiences. And even the experience I gained here, I remember sharing with my platform what it is like even to be a teacher in Taiwan or say Singapore. And I've already had persons reaching out to me telling me thanks because they had no idea that these opportunities exist for international teachers and all of that. So, you know, it's still not a waste. I just see it as a means of investment in both myself and for my audience.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. You are indeed special, and I'm here and I'm listening to you. I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm thinking that if we do a little bit more as a country, we could be so far ahead. We could be so far ahead because you were a single person on the team. So everything that you needed, you should just get a grip or a suitcase with everything you need to go because it is not a big team. It is not a big team. But let me ask you, how were you able though to handle the time difference? I mean, you live in North America where it is just 17 minutes after 9 now p.m. You're in another country where it is Friday morning. How were you able to handle the time difference even now as we speak?
It took some time for me to adjust to the time difference because when I just got here, I could not even train the following day. I had to take a complete 24-hour rest period so that I could adjust. And even after taking that, I was still unable to sleep because my body is used to sleeping at a certain time. And so when it gets to night, in North America, it would have been day when I would be up and doing my daily activities and all of that.
Hang on a
And so
minute, Damien. I'm getting hang on, Damien. I'm getting a slight static from your side. Is
um,
your yeah, I'm getting a slight static feedback. Is your phone plugged in?
yeah, I'm hearing it as well. I'm not sure. Let me see.
All right, tell you what you do. Unplug your phone and see if that will help.
Yes, let me do that and see.
Yeah, if it's plugged in, unplug it and see if it will. All right, guys, welcome, welcome. Mental health Oasis is saying this is such an empowering story. Thank you very much for that, sir. The idea is to bring some awareness to our master's legacy. All right, Damien is. All right, remove your earpiece. Remove it
Yeah,
totally.
I'm
Put it back.
trying. Yeah, let me try it with the
All
earbuds
right.
again and see.
All right, let's see if that works. Hello, hello. No, it's not. It's not
I'm gonna try.
working.
I'm gonna
It's
try
not
to
working.
leave and come back and see if that helps.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, guys, he's going to try and all right, an awesome story. He's having some sorry, he's having some connection problem, but what a story, what a story, what a story. And we we oh my God, it's track and field Jamaica is a brand. It is a brand. We're one of the biggest brand out there in the sport industry in track and field. And whichever level, whether it's at the junior level, the professional level, the master's level, we still create we still create a buzz wherever we go. And, as Damien said, he was like a king in Taiwan because he's from Jamaica. He's from the country of people like Usain Bolt, Shelly and Fraser Price, Arthur Wynn, Herb McKinley, Veronica Campbell Brown, and the list goes on and on. Elaine Thompson Hera, you name them. And we the idea tonight is just to bring some awareness to the Masters program and how we can support and what the Federation itself needs to do in order to promote and market themselves so that they can get their own sponsorship, they can get their own deals, they can get their own um, gear, whichever company they can get their own gear from. We have to help them to do that, to get their own thing and not rely on another federation to help them with all of that. Vonnie M is saying you are absolutely right about how advanced these Asian countries are, Southeast Asia. And Vonnie M is right because we've had discussions, and she has told me about some of these countries, how advanced they are, and the opportunities that that you can get being in these countries, whether for work or teaching, whatever it may be, whether you're an athlete, it doesn't matter. But guys, this is this is an incredible story. I like this story. It is very authentic and it is bringing awareness because, as I said before, I wasn't aware that Jamaica Masters athletics was a thing or is a thing. I wasn't aware. I've heard the term now and then, like when I go to the Gibson relays, I've heard the term that they have a 4x1 for Masters, but I did not know that it was at this level where we are competing at world games and all these fancy things. Thanks to Damian, who is enlightening us. And of course, next week we will have Dr. Kevin Bowen, who will be telling a whole lot more about our federation and the. All right, let's bring Damian back. He's here. Let's
Much
see.
clearer now. I hope it keeps up.
Okay. Okay, you're much, much better now. Much better.
Sounds
All right,
good.
let's go to my next question, Damian. Support for Jamaica Masters Athletics. How can we sell this as a part of our legacy to the public for you guys to get more funding, more resources? I mean, I have questions like these for Dr. Kevin Bowen next week. But as an athlete who is a part of it, what are some of the things that you would like to see the federation doing?
What I would like to see is to have more structure. I think if we have more structure and if we are passionate about what we do, then we can attract investors or sponsors. But if it is that we just see it as a little sports thing here and there, nobody's going to buy into it. We first have to promote it as something that is serious, the same way how you would promote the Olympics or the World Champs, because this is putting Jamaica on the map. Because World Masters, let me tell you, the World Masters Games that we just had in Taiwan had more athletes than the Olympic Games. It more than doubled the participants who competed at the Olympics because not only do they they don't really limit persons per country because the Masters community is big, and it comes with a lot of like health benefits. A lot of connections are made, and that's the goal of the Masters community. And if you think about Brand Jamaica being promoted to 25,000 people, and these are just athletes, I'm not talking about organizers and supporters who come to watch the games. No, I think it's a big thing. It's a big thing for Brand Jamaica. And, tourism is one of our biggest thing in Jamaica. And even while in Taiwan, a lot of persons, they ask me about what they can do in Jamaica. And when I tell them, they're like, yeah, I am coming to Jamaica one of these days. And so, all of us as athletes, we are ambassadors, whether you are at the professional or the master's level, we are ambassadors for Jamaica. And I think I would like to see more efforts from the government as well to put effort into masters athletics and master sports on a whole. Because listen, when you invest in masters, you are also investing in ensuring that the health of the population is much better, because persons who are in masters, they tend to have healthier lifestyles. They tend to eat better because they want to compete at the highest level. They exercise a lot, and they tend to be happier as well, because exercise is a form of therapy. Sports can be a form of therapy. And I think many persons are not aware of this, but if we can sell it like this to the government, I think we probably can get some sponsorship. But as I said before, it would require strong leadership, and that's something that I would like to see in Jamaica Masters, like a whole complete restructuring, so that we can have, the right people in place. We can have the right teams. We have a PRO. We have a treasurer who is actively hunting for these sponsorship deals and all of that. And I think once that is done, we can see a difference with Jamaica Masters, because it is happening around the world. Canada has it, US, even Saudi Arabia, they had a strong team. You know what they call the World Masters Games? The Olympics. Because
Wow.
most of their athletes are not competing at the highest level. They are not a Jamaica or a US. And so this for them was like the Olympics. Um, I remember like one particular team, when one of the guys won the high jump, he posted that this was the first gold medal for Saudi Arabia. That's what he said. And
Wow.
I'm like, wow. And guess what, too, Heather? When I ran in the 110 hurdles, the guy that won it is actually the national record holder for Taiwan. Because a lot of their athletes do not make it on the professional level because they will
Hmm.
not make the standard.
Yes.
And so these games for them, that this was like their Olympics.
It's a big deal. This
It's
is
a
a
big
big
deal
deal
because,
for a lot of countries.
right, because I came here with the idea that I'm going to win the 100 meters, because when I look at their masters athletes, I'm like, oh no, I got this. But I did not know they were going to throw in some of their national people. I'm like, wow. And so I'm really proud of myself still, because it's like you have Jamaica Masters and other Masters athletes competing against some, national athletes of other countries, and we are still able to be competitive. I think it's a big deal.
It is. It is a
Hmm.
big deal because it is a part of the legacy. And I'm listening to you and I hear the passion for somebody who did not get any resources from its country. You have done remarkably well. And it wasn't just about what you did on the track, but you also helped to sell Jamaica to the people who wanted to know, if I come to Jamaica, what are some of the entertainment, what are some of the things that I can, you know, I could do there. So
Right.
you were out there being an ambassador for the Jamaica Tourist Board.
Oh, yes.
Wow. But
Oh, yeah.
you've had a busy season. You've been to three or four championships so far since this season. You have won a bronze medal. And you said you just started training last year for the Masters League. I've seen we have athletes now who are crossing over to different events. We have Christania Williams, who is now in bobsled. We see
Hmm.
Taekwondo Tracy also taking up bobsled. What kind of advice would you give to track and field athletes that we might have retiring in another year, next year? How would you encourage them? Would you encourage them to cross over?
Definitely, what I would say to persons is you have to do what is best for you. And a lot of times we have athletes who just think that I can only do this event. And I had that mindset too. But if it is that another sport is available and you're able to join and be competitive and you can keep going in the sport, I would say go for it. Do not limit yourself. I always tell athletes, not all of us will be financially stable like Usain Bolt, Asafa, Johan Blake, who made it to the top, Elaine and Shelley, those people. And so we have to do what works for us. Like a lot of us, we have to work a 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And do not limit yourself. When these opportunities come, jump on it. I don't know if you know. Do you know Audrey Sigree?
I know the name. I know the name.
Yeah,
Never
so,
met them
so
in person, but I know the
yeah,
name.
so she ran a champs and so forth, and then she switched over to, I think, bobsled as well. I think she's a part of Jamaica national team now. We went to the same primary school, And I was so happy to see her doing that because you just have to do what's best for you. And
Mhm.
I always tell athletes, I mean, your interest and your personal achievements and financial stability, very, very important. And I would say go for it. And I would encourage them to keep active as long as you can. Some athletes go into business adventures as well. Go for it. Don't limit yourself. Go for it because at the end of the day, when you retire, you still want to be able to eat bread. That's all. And
You
so
know something?
you have to go for it.
As you said, not to think limit. That's something you said, Bolt always say. Never think limits. When people
Yes.
ask him about world record, he would say, I don't think limits. I just go out there and do what I have to do. If the record come, then it comes. But you're not just an athlete. You're a little brains. You are a little brains because you're now in Singapore, right?
Yes.
When do you come back to the US?
Well, Sunday I'll be heading to South Korea, and then on Wednesday I'll be heading back to the US.
Man,
And
you're
this is one
traveling.
this
You're
this is one thing
traveling.
this is one thing I want to tell Jamaicans as well. There are many Asian countries, first world, some of them are even more advanced than the US, that you do not need a visa to enter. And this is something a lot of persons did not know. For Singapore, you don't need a visa.
You don't?
South Korea, you don't need a visa as a Jamaican. And save. Don't always just go to the US on vacation. I always tell people or Canada, explore other continents. Go to Europe, go to Asia. Even if you have to save and do it maybe in 2 years' time instead of taking a US vacation, try and come to one of these countries and explore what life is outside of North America. I'm telling you, it will change your perspective on a lot of things. And you may just be surprised as to what opportunities may present itself. Like right now, I am here, and when I went to church in Taiwan, there were teachers there telling me that right now, if you need a job, you can get it. You are a math professional with a master's degree. They would grab you just like this. The cost of living is very good. And also they pay their international teachers more than what they pay local teachers. If I didn't commit to this PhD program, I probably would be staying in Taiwan for another 3 or 4 years, working some money, setting up myself, and then moving back to North America afterwards. And so I want persons to know about these opportunities. Look into life, look at opportunities in other countries outside of North America as well. You just never know.
True. Well said.
Yes.
Well said. And I totally agree with you. But you said you are going to be moving around a little bit and then you'll be back this side by next week. But you will be you'll be moving to Texas
Yes.
to pursue a PhD in math and teaching. Tell me a little bit. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats on that. Tell me a little bit about studying PhD in math. What is that really about?
Um, so as you know, PhD comes with a lot of research, but
Mm-hmm.
having a master's already in math, I will not be doing as much coursework as somebody just entering with a bachelor's because they do accept persons with a bachelor's, but they'll have to do a lot more coursework. And so, a lot of my research, a lot of my program will involve research. And I'm still thinking whether or not I'm going to focus more on pure math or math education. I'm really passionate about math education and not just the content, but how teachers teach math. And I think that is lacking in a lot of our schools. And so I'm still trying to decide what I'll be researching if because I love pure math and I also love math education. I like how math is taught. And one thing I like about Texas State University, both their math PhD and math education PhD are offered in the math department. So even if I do math education, I will still have to do all the math content. So it's still giving me all my math. But at the same time, I will also be doing some math education content and possibly research. So it's kind of similar to when I did my bachelor's at UWI when I had the best of both worlds doing both math and education. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. I really want to contribute towards um, enhancing how teachers teach math as well. Because a lot of people have the knowledge, they have the head knowledge of math, but they don't know how to teach it, and they make students scared, and it can be messy. And I want to help to change that.
Indeed, indeed. I like
Yes.
where you are going. I was one of those students who, I don't know, I just couldn't get math. I don't know why. I just couldn't get it. I was forced at the university level because I did it like what, three times at the O levels, and I did not, I still did not get it at the O levels. I had to rely on accounts as a math subject to get into university. So as you said before, I don't know, maybe the teacher that some of us have,
Yeah.
maybe it is mental block, I don't know, but
Yeah, sometimes how it is presented can create mental block. As I'm telling you, Heather, like not to brag or anything, but even before I became a math teacher, I had persons who struggled with math. Like one of my cousins struggled with math and she wanted to do nursing. And I taught her while I was in sixth form after she failed math in high school and she passed it. When I left UWI, at my church, Power of Love SDA Church in Lilliput, there were a group of us. I put a group of us together and we offered subjects to members of the community and the church. And I was teaching the math, and most of the students in the math group were persons who were not recommended to do the subject in their high school. And we had a very, very high success rate. I had persons who were not recommended, and when they did our program, they got like a 3 or a 2. We even had some students with distinctions from that group. And I taught it differently from how it is taught in the high schools. Sometimes you just have to find out how a student learn, and then you tap into that, because not everybody learns the same way. And that's how math is taught in Jamaica, where they teach it where we all learn the same way. Some of us are tactile, we have to learn by doing. And
true.
so I create activities for some of those students. Some of us are very visual. Not all of us can understand the abstract stuff. And as a teacher, you have to know these things. And most teachers do not teach that way.
True. Do you
Yeah, because
enjoy teaching? I get the feeling that you enjoy teaching.
I do enjoy teaching. It's a lot of work. The grading and all of that stuff. Sometimes I don't enjoy, but just to be there with in the classroom interacting with students, I enjoy it. Yep, I love it.
How will you're going to be starting your PhD very soon in the fall, I guess, because it's summer
Yes.
now in the almost summer in the United States. How will this impact your training as a master's athlete? Will you be able to compete just the same?
I will. I promise myself that I will. Because the thing is, I won't be working full time anymore. I'll only be teaching part time at the same university. So I'm going to fit it in where my studies and my teaching load would fit in as a full time job, and then that would not take away from my training. And then assignments, I'll just try to work around them, but definitely I will continue my training, because I don't just train to compete. I train because of my health as well. I want to
Right.
keep fit, I want to stay in good shape, and I am not going to let anything take away that from me.
With that said, guys, thank you very much for being here. Damian Maxwell, this is indeed a very empowering story. I like the story, very authentic from what you call it, from rural St. James
Yes.
to Kingston to the United States, to Taiwan, to Singapore, all over the world. Awesome, just awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're going to play a little game now. And I'm going to say two things, and you pick the one that you like more or that you fancy more.
Okay.
Track or field events?
Mm, that's track. But can I say something? To be honest, Heather, the 100-meter is my favorite track event. But recently, I think it's a toss up between my 100 and my high jump. I'm loving the high jump. I don't train for the high jump, but I just it just comes naturally, and
By the
so
way,
it's hard. It's
by the
hard to
way,
choose.
By
Yes.
the way, with the high jump, with events like the high jump and the hurdles, is it the
Hmm.
same height like what the professionals do, or you guys get it a little lower?
It's the same. So the hurdle is the same height that Hans Parchment and those guys would jump. But for me, I can't get the rhythm of the hurdling. I haven't trained for it and I just can't. I just do it for the fun of it. But I just can't hurdle. You know, the high jump, I'm getting back into the technique and I'm really starting to do very well at it. But the hurdles, for some reason, I just can't get the technique right. The speed is there and I can jump the hurdle, but the rhythm is just off.
Okay, like how I've seen a lot of athletes do it is bam 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 over bam bam bam.
I
That's
can't. I can't. I tried so hard. I can't. Mm-mm.
and we've done so well at that event, both men
Hmm.
and women. We have some of the most talented
I
hurdlers
agree. I
in
agree.
track and field. All right, next one. Long jump or triple jump?
Long jump. Even though the medal is in triple jump, but I would rather do the long jump. Definitely
Medal,
long.
medal or personal best?
Ah, ah.
Medal or
um,
personal best?
personal best.
Okay, warm
Yes.
or cold temperature?
Warm.
Ice bath or massage?
Massage.
Training or coaching?
Mm.
Training or coaching? You
I
training
would.
or you coaching?
I would say coaching.
Sounds like
That's
a typical
easier.
sounds like a typical athlete to me.
Yeah, and
60 meters,
I can bad up the athletes, them man. Yeah, man. Coaching
60-meter or high jump?
the high jump.
Music or silence?
Music.
Meat or vegetable?
Vegetable, all the way vegetable. Hmm.
Socks or no socks in spikes?
No socks.
Instagram reels or TikTok?
Instagram, I don't like TikTok. TikTok has been doing me really bad. I can't go on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, there's something about TikTok.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
love
There's
Instagram. Instagram really tend to cooperate with me more. So
yeah,
I love Instagram.
yeah.
Yes.
Ackee and saltfish or oxtail?
Aki and saltfish all the way. I think oxtail is overrated.
I do think that too. Water or juice?
Water.
Asia or North America?
Um, I'm just gonna say North America because it's closer to home. You know, Jamaica is the best, but
Yeah.
apart from that, yeah. So I'll go with North America.
Movie or series?
You know, I'm not a TV person, but
Okay.
if I were to choose, I would go with just a movie and done. I don't have the time for the series. Movie.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube movies?
I don't have Netflix, so I'm gonna go with YouTube.
Okay. Phone call or text?
Texting for sure.
Why people don't want to talk to people anymore?
It depends. You know, I'll talk, but it depends. It really depends. I think sometimes for me, based on my busy schedule, texting is just so much easier. But when
Yeah.
I do have the time, I will have those phone conversations. But for the most part, texting is easier.
Sneakers or Crocs?
I've never worn a Crocs before, so I'll go with sneakers. I don't own a Crocs.
That makes two of us, honey. I think it's
Yeah,
overrated.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so.
But you can't tell the younger athletes that.
Mm-mm, not at all.
With that said, I wrote a poem for you, and I'm going to, it's very short, a very short poem. It's something that I'm trying to do to celebrate, any athlete that comes on my program. At the Taiwan Games, he soared with pride. Triple jump medal, Jamaica's pride on the podium. Still blazing past, the young master pursue. From Arizona to Ontario track, he leap, he sprints, never look back. In Houston and Canada chills, high jump, long jump, masterful skills, the 200 crown in hand. He stands for greatness, proud, and grand. A living master, bold and true. Jamaica shines because of you in Taiwan.
I love it. I love it. Good job, Heather.
Thank you, thank you,
Love
thank
it.
you, thank you,
Mhm.
thank you, thank you, and thank you very much for being here tonight. To
Yes, and just before we wrap up, too, just to
sure.
share with the audience, like what's next for me for the rest of the season. So once I get back, the following week I'll be heading out to Los Angeles for a track meet I recently got into. It's not a Masters League though, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Because yep, racing some younger guys. And then we have the US National Masters in July, I think 17 and 18. I'll compete in the 100 and the high jump. I can't do the 200 because that's going to be on the Saturday. And then on August 3rd, I'll be in Montreal in Canada for the high jump as well and the 200. There, I won't be able to do the 100 because that's going to be on the Saturday. So that's how I have to do it. And I just thank God for the opportunity still to be able to compete and not have to compromise my faith. So
Indeed,
I'm
indeed,
just grateful for it. Hmm.
indeed, indeed. You're still going to be busy. I thought that you were coming back to rest and then prepare to move to
No,
take
no,
on a whole new world. But thank you for sharing that. But I have another question to ask you.
sure.
You are pretty young, still pretty young. You're just what, 33, 32, going
Yes,
33?
33. Hmm.
33. Have you ever thought about, you have done multiple events, you've done field events, you've done track events, you've done jumps, all those things. Have you ever thought about the decathlon?
I thought about it, but I don't think I would be a good fit because anything over 200 meters, don't put my name on it.
Yeah, because you would have to do the 400 meters and you would have to do the 1500
Oh,
meters.
I would die. I would die. And you know the funny thing though, yeah, no, it wouldn't work for me. I don't think it would. No,
Yeah,
not at all.
the 400 meter, because all the other events, you're pretty much good at the 100, the long jump. I don't know about you in the shot put, the high jump, the 110-meter hurdles. There's also the discus throw. There's also the javelin.
Those I would have to learn. I don't know. I can't do
Mhm.
the I've never done the throws, so I'd have to learn them. But
Okay,
I
okay,
don't think I would do the decathlon at all.
okay. 10 gruesome events.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to. And then the thing is too, as someone who is entering the official master's age for athletics, you have to also be careful that you don't burn out because we are more, you know, we're getting older, and you know, in the world of sports, once you reach 30, they start to say that you're old, and so you have to be so strategic in trying not to burn out so you can like
Hmm.
how um prolong how much you can actually compete at the highest
Complete.
level
Yeah,
possible. Yes.
yeah. Awesome, awesome. Damien, it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure having you here tonight, telling your story and educating us on different things, and bringing some more light, some more awareness to Jamaica Masters Athletics and World Masters Athletics, of course. And we have a bunch of athletes. We have many athletes. Matter of fact, I was talking to Olympian Dorothy Scott Genius today. I asked her about it a few days ago, and she said they wanted to recruit her, but she had been retired too long, so it would be good to create the awareness so that people who are retiring from the professional level can decide if they want to cross over immediately instead of starting a new chapter and then to go back kind of
Right.
thing. So thank you very much for being here tonight. But before we go, I generally give my guests an opportunity to ask me one question. So you can think about what you want to ask me. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to wrap up to say, guys, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for staying with us for almost 2 hours. Damien with this great story, and we want to wish him all the best on his studies, a PhD in math. This man has a bachelor's in math, a master's degree in math, and he's now going for his PhD. Man, this guy is something else, but of course, another Jamaican, another talented, bright, Jamaican is in the building tonight, and we just want to give him wish him all the best and God's blessing on him as he move forward into the new chapter of his life, which will be coming up in a few months. PhD and a master's athlete, and he will also be teaching. So he'll be studying, teaching, coaching, and competing. Oh my word. Oh, oh wow, wow, Damien. Good luck and all of that. And guys, thank you very much, everyone who turned up tonight to hang out with us. Vonnie M, 1972, 1976 Olympian. Dorothy Scott, 1980, 1984 Olympian. Vivian Morano, 1988 Olympian. Lillian Hodges, 1972, 1976, 1980 Olympian. All for Jamaica. Dr. Kevin was here. Vivian Morano is saying, I had no clue there was a master's program. Rymar's Track Club was also here. Tony P was here. He said, man a brains. Man a brains, Kevin. Dr. Kevin Bowen is saying, welcome to the doctoral community, Damien. So you have company there. You have Dr. welcoming you. Vonnie M is saying, very informative session. Thank you. Osani Webster is saying, oh, he said medal. When I asked about PBR medal, he said medal. He said coaching. He was answering some of the questions. He said high jump. He said music. Mental Health Oasis is saying, congratulations on all your accomplishments and the ones that you will be pursuing. Indeed, indeed. Maria Wallace, thank you very much for being here. And Osani is saying, tell her to start train and be ready for next year. And Maria Wallace is saying, she is saying, my brilliant friend, brother, indeed, indeed, indeed. Another bright Jamaican. Europe, Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Oceanic, Antarctic. Thank you very much for tuning in. Wherever in the world you tuned in from, thank you very much. And now Damien will ask me his question. I hope I can answer. I hope it's not too hard. Go ahead, Damien.
I was thinking of a math question, but I won't.
No, Damien, don't. Damien.
I'll spare you. And one thing I want to tell the audience as well, because I get this question a lot. Before I answer your question, Heather, Masters League does not mean that you need to have a master's degree. So I don't want you to get it twisted. The master's is in terms of age, officially 35, but some start at 30. All right, guys, you don't need a master's degree to compete in master sports.
With
all
that
right?
said.
So your question now, Heather. Do you see yourself competing for Jamaica?
No, sir.
Masters. I mean, it doesn't have to be running. It could be tennis. It could be swimming. It could be road walk, road running. You have so many different things.
Let me tell you what I want to do for Jamaica with what I'm doing now. I want to promote our legacy, our track and field legacy, the best way I can by talking to people like you, my vision is to be able to interview every Jamaican athlete. That is my mission. So my mission and how I want to give back to my country is to promote our track and field legacy at every level, whether the high school level, the pro level, the master's level. So when I met you, I said, yes, here is another part of our legacy that I can share with our audience. Swimming, one, I can't swim. I don't go near a body of water because I cannot swim. When I was studying here in the US, people used to ask me, how is it that you're from the island and you cannot swim? Not everybody, let me tell you, I don't think most of Jamaica can swim. I don't think most of Jamaica can swim, so I can't swim. I mean, I used to run 5K a lot. I would join a 5K club, a Jamaican 5K club, because when I was living in Jamaica and working, we used to have a 5K club where we used to do the Sigma Run we used to do, the Cancer Society, Digicel, all these companies, Guardian Life, that have these 5K runs. And I used to do that. I used to do a 5K in 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I used to do a 5K in 30 minutes in age 40 and older. So, but I wish they would have that at the international level. Then I say yes, that I
But
would train for.
they do have it. Even here at the World Masters game, they do have it.
They have like marathon.
They had all the, yeah, it wasn't only sprints. They had road races as well. They had the 5K. Yeah, they had everything.
What's the
Yep.
age group to run like the 5K and the marathon or half
It's
marathon?
so if you're looking at World Masters games, the IMGA, they manage that, and it's 30 and older. There's no limit at the top.
Even
We even had
70?
persons up to 100 competing.
Wow.
90, yeah, you see some 90-year-old breaking records. 85.
That mean I could do that.
You could
I
do it,
I've
yeah.
done I've done the marathon at the reggae marathon, and I
Oh
think I
yeah,
did I think I did the half marathon in an hour and maybe 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So a few years ago in Negril.
that's good. That's good. And I want to tell you too, Heather, that in the US Masters League, they also have some they do have a league for long distance running, and
Yes,
those come with prizes, but you have to be 40 and older. I saw it. I can send you the link so you can look into it. And
please do, because
yes,
I
you
don't
can look
mind.
into it.
I don't
Hmm.
mind getting into something like that because, as I said, I work out a lot. I keep myself fit, my mind,
Very
my
good.
body, and stuff. So, and yeah, I don't mind joining something like that. So, yeah, send me the link and let me see what it entails and if there's something in my area. A matter of fact, when I was running 5K, I I started running 5K at a time of, I used to do a 5K like in an hour and maybe 20 minutes or 2 hours. And I was trained by Darren Hira. Darren Hira is the husband of Elaine Thompson Hira. And
Oh, cool.
Darren used to train our group, and he brought me from 2 hours to running a 5K in 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yes, in over
Wow.
40 and older in 30 minutes. So it's something that, of course, you have to train for. But as I said before, I don't mind because if you have people in their 60s and 70s that can do it, of course,
You
I
can do it
think
too.
I can do something like that. And it would be
I
mostly
agree.
mostly for fun for me. Maria Wallace is saying that my 30 minutes in 5K is a good time. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Maria, for that. Dr. Kevin is saying they give you your medal based on your age group. Yeah, I
Right.
like that. I like that. I like that. And that was one of the things that I was hoping that they would have done back in Jamaica. They would have awarded you medal based on age group, because if they had done that, I would have gotten a lot of medals, but they never used to do the age group thingy because I trained so hard and there was no age group medals. So, but Damien, thank you very much for being here, sweetheart, my new friend. Thank you everyone for being here. Dr. Kevin Bowen, please to gear up for next week when we will get deeper into the Jamaica Masters Athletics um federation, the legacy. We will get into the legacy. We will talk about funding, marketing, management team, how you pick your team, how people can, having an identity so that athletes can cross over. And maybe one of the ways to make it very attractive for more people to get into it is to get funding where you can fund the athletes, fund the national teams, because you have to pay out of your pocket. I did some research and I hear that you have to buy your own gear, you have to buy your own shoes, pay your own plane fare and that kind of thing, your hotel. So if the federation can get itself together and get funding then I think more people will get on board. But to pay out of pocket, I think it is a little steep. I think it is a little steep, right, Damien?
Totally agree. Totally agree with you, Heather. And I just want to thank you for having me on your platform. It was indeed a pleasure to be here and to share my journey and also to speak about Jamaica Masters because I think we do have the potential to do great. And I think very soon in the future, once we can regroup and reorganize, Jamaica Masters is going to be a big thing. I just have the faith that we can do it. I think we can do it. And
Yes.
so thank you again for what you do. We appreciate you doing this for Jamaica athletics because we do have a brand. We have a brand. It's celebrated globally, and I'm just so happy to see that you're doing it here to bring light to what we do here in Jamaica, not just for the professionals, but also for the masters athletes as well. So thank you for doing that.
You are welcome, sir. You are welcome. And thank you very much for taking the time out to be here with us. It is Friday for you. It is now 10:01 in Singapore where you are. What is your day is going to be like today? Just quickly before we go.
Well, yesterday I left and I went to one of the islands that they have here, and I ended up walking over 12,000 steps touring that island. It had four beaches and a resort world. I love it. I'm thinking about going back today to do some more tours. I just love it there. But I won't be doing much today because my legs are still tired. So I may go out for 2 hours, come back, rest, prepare for Sabbath, and then church tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And then on Sunday, I'll be on my way out. But it has been great being here so far.
Have a safe trip back home and
Thank you
we
so
will
much.
speak, okay? Thank
All
you
right.
for being
Take
here
care.
and take care. Bye.
And thanks to everyone for joining and listening. Have a good one. Take care.
Have
God
a good
bless.
one. Bye bye. Okay, guys. Yes, that was Mr. Damien. That was Damien. He is such a sweetheart. And thank you guys for, as always, being here to support and, just to learn about our legacy, Jamaica track and field legacy. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. And Dr. Kevin Bowen, team manager, one of the team managers for the Jamaica Masters in a recent championship. He will be here next week and he will be telling us a lot more as it relates to the federation, the World Masters body, and all of that. And we will be back here next week. So, guys, have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Please to share this video. Please to share so that others can become more aware of our legacy. There's so much to our track and field legacy. And guys, please to share. Have a great weekend wherever you are, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Asia, whether you're in Antarctica, Oceanic, North America, South America, Europe. Thank you very much for being here to share tonight. I'm your girl, HP on HP Chat Track Studio. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. And Unseen Sports TV is saying big up, and he's saying just reach. For those of you who are not Jamaicans, he's saying he's just getting here. But of course, we are on our way out. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Hosani Webster, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. And this weekend will be the Grand Slam, the Philadelphia leg of the Grand Slam. Saturday and Sunday. So remember to tune into that to see some world class athletics with track and field athletes from around the world, including Jamaica. Good night, guys. Good night. Have a great night. Have a great night, a great weekend. And I will see you next week when we will talk more about Jamaica Masters athletics. Have a good night. Peace.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business, Jamaica.